And you're listening to BDE, Big Darien Energy. Big Darien Energy.
Welcome back to Big Darien Energy. Took a week off. It's Wednesday. Today's my half birthday. Why did I take a week off? Yeah, I've just been going through it, to be completely honest, thoroughly going through it. Then last Monday, I found a lump on Gigi. She's my cane corso. She's turning 6 this year. I was going through that. I'm not going to talk about that because we're not going to have waterworks. How did I get here? I'm unemployed. I can't find a job. That's another thing too. I was moving back to LA in March. I literally cannot find a job here in San Diego at all doing anything. I've applied to be a server. I've applied. There is a senior center across the street from my house paying literally $17 an hour. Can't even get a job doing that. How did I get here? Let's start there. I've been so no, I'm not gonna curse. I've been I don't care. I could, but that was just like really aggressive to say fucking. I've been dreading this episode because I'm gonna talk about things I haven't talked about because I've genuinely, honestly been always trying to keep it polite for everybody, but that's not real life. This is real life. How did I get here? We're going to start with 2020 because that's how I got here to San Diego. Why did I move to San Diego? We're going to get into it. We're going to start 2020 and then we're going to end where I currently am, how I got here. So I'm going to be talking about things that I've never talked about. I've touched on certain topics, but I've tried to keep it real cutesy, really polite for everybody. I'm not saying I'm going to be a menace to society. And like I said in my first episode of this year, I'm in my villain era. That just means me being done as a people pleaser and being dumb and having the blinders on because I'm very naive. I can be for everything. I already mentioned that I'm unemployed. To be completely honest, I'm pretty sure the podcast and me doing social media has something to do with that because even though, yeah, I'm on social media, but I don't even have enough fucking followers to be monetized. I don't even have enough followers to make any money on social media. So that's another reason why I'm going to be taking this. I thought I was taking it more seriously, but I haven't been completely honest with everything because I've been trying to be polite to everybody else. So it's either podcast or bust because I don't even want to be a content creator. I don't even want to do TikTok shop. I don't even care to do those things. I literally just want to do the podcast. I want to be the girl Joe Rogan. Like that's my goal. We have the same birthday. That's like so creepy. Anyways, so 2020. Let's start there. I mentioned in cognitive dissonance and I'm not going to relive that episode. I have to touch on it here because that's how I got to San Diego and how I got whatever. So 2020, we're going to only start there. So that is when the breakup happened and I broke up with my ex, the narcissist, literally the most toxic relationship I've ever been in my entire life. And then I moved in with my broker in the city in LA. I was doing real estate at the time. I love real estate. That's where my heart is. And that's why I always tell people, like, do whatever your heart desires and don't stay at a job that you're miserable. Because this is where I'm going to fuck myself because I'm applying to jobs in the legal field because I can't do real estate right away because me applying to jobs in real estate, I need to be physically in LA. So I can't do real estate right away. Which whatever it is, what it is. That's why I'm saying like podcasts are bust. Like I don't have another choice because I do post on YouTube. Like I post literally everywhere because I'm trying to get any kind of exposure that I can. So I do post. I mean, TikTok is like my diary, literally. I post on like it's so different because I'm on every single platform, but I use every single platform so differently. Except for YouTube. Like YouTube, that's just where everything goes. I mean, not everything, obviously. I keep things on TikTok, but to be completely honest, TikTok is my favorite, which who knew because I was so anti TikTok when it first came out because it was just like all dancing videos. And I really do love TikTok. It's just like it's the girls, if you're a boy, you won't understand this, but it's literally like the girls' bathroom at like a club, which nobody fucking even does that anymore. But everybody is so nice to each other, in my opinion. I mean, obviously you have people talking shit, but like I love it. I love it a lot. It's my diary. So, and then I use Snapchat, but Snapchat's obviously it's like a bunch of boys on there who just like fucking follow me. I don't know. And then Instagram is just trash. I fucking hate Instagram. Everybody watches your shit, nobody likes your shit. And to be honest, I don't know why the fuck they started what is that, stories? We might as well just go back to Snapchat. Why do we even Instagram is just the more poised, perfect version of everybody. Anyways, I don't even know why I'm getting off the topic, but so I'm unemployed and I can't find a job and I love real estate. So, going back, ADHD. Squirrel. So 2020, I broke up with my ex. I moved out to my broker's guest house, and then after that, I like found my own place because I was like, even though they became my family, they're Jewish, like kippah and everything, like shul at the house. I like did services like Rosh Hashanah, like Pesach. So anyways, and it was just time for. They were so sweet though because on Christmas Eve we like, and mind you, they're Jewish, and they knew like it was my first Christmas like without my ex's family, because you have to understand they were in my life for like literally 10 years. And then for my birthday too, that was like hard. Like literally everybody from the office came to my broker's house, and like we had breakfast like before we all went into the office. It was so cute. Like, oh, the mic's right there. That's why. This is not even, I just wanted to hold something. It was so sweet how everybody came to celebrate my birthday at the house, and like we all had breakfast. 2020 breakup. Then 2021, I moved out of my broker's house. I moved into a community, Beverlywood, and that's where our area was, and we did real estate. And they're like so safe. I love that neighborhood, but don't move there because I love it. So 2021, I moved out, and that was also when I tried to unalive myself. And mind you, after we broke up, like that was a time for me to like focus on myself. I've never really like focused on myself. Even in that relationship, it was like horrible. I gave up everything. Like I made every single sacrifice for that person. I was doing journalism. Like I wanted to be a sports reporter. I loved sports reporting, like the sidelines. Like there's nothing like it. There's nothing like being on the field. Like I just loved it. And at the time, that was when I had the schmishmortion. We weren't even together when that happened. And I mean, we were together, but like we're broken up, which that's another story, whatever. One of the reasons why also like I stayed with that person is because I always thought that like God in the universe, like if that happened, if I did that, like if that happened with somebody, like we were supposed to be together and I was supposed to be with them. But then somebody told me, because I told them that story, and she made me feel better because she was like, if that was supposed to happen, that would have happened. So that was like perspective. That's also like, I say I don't want kids, but like I posted on my story on Instagram today, and I'm not going to cry. But I was at the market, and there was a woman, a mom, who had her baby in front of me, and I had my sunglasses on, but this baby kept staring at me, like literally kept staring at me. He was probably, I would say, 6 to 8 months old, and the baby just kept staring at me, and I was smiling and like waving because the baby was like doing this, and then so I was waving, and the mom kept like checking the corner just to see what I was doing, because obviously like you don't know what somebody's doing, making faces at the baby or whatever. Every time I would smile, the baby would smile and like wave, and the baby couldn't talk, but like talking, baby talk. And anyways, I started crying. So maybe I say I don't want kids, and like maybe that's just like me tricking my brain, but like to be completely honest, I know what it's like to make sacrifices, every single sacrifice, to literally give up your dreams for somebody else. Oh, that's where I was going with this. That's what scares me about, having children, is that child is forever, but a relationship is not. You don't know what somebody's capable of. You don't know if somebody's going to love you forever. You don't know if somebody's going to treat you with kindness forever. You don't, that's something that is an unknown, and that is scary to me, especially after having my brother. Raising a child as a single person is not easy, and I would never wish it upon anybody because it is so hard. Like it is, and raising a teenager, and everybody's like, oh, you are going through the worst stage of childhood right now. That doesn't make me feel better. I'm still doing it alone. And not, how did I get here on this topic? I have no idea. That was a weird tangent to go off of. Yeah, I know what it's like to make every single set. Oh, that's where I was going. So I didn't do news anchoring because when I was going to have to do news anchoring in order to start out. New York and LA are number 1 and number 2 markets. But in order to start out, because I was making reels at the time to send out to news studios, he played college basketball and he had a scholarship. We were long distance at the time. And right when I was going to have to go to get a job, he was coming back. And I chose that relationship over my dreams because I knew that we couldn't endure that. I knew that he wouldn't stay with me. And you have to understand, I don't have any family. Like, his family was my family. So I chose to give up my dreams for that relationship. Hence why I'm doing the podcast now in my 30s. Fun times, but it is what it is. Podcasts are bust because I can't find a job because of this, I'm assuming. 2021, I moved out of my broker's house. I moved to a duplex literally down the street. That is when I tried to unalive myself. And like, obviously it wasn't right away, but I tried to unalive myself in September. I remember I got it because I was on a 5150. And I got out of the hospital on a Saturday night because it was right after Shabbos. And then I was back in the office, I'm not even joking you, that Monday, when I probably should have taken some time off. But that's just my brain. I love working. And he asked me, he was, when are you going to come into the office? So I was back in the office. I got out of the hospital Saturday night. And then I was back in the office that Monday. Obviously, it happened for a reason, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I'll talk about that another time. 2022. That is, well, not 2022. So after I did that, my uncle, my mom's brother, is the only family member I have in California. He lives in San Diego, where we grew up, where I grew up also. So he lives in the house that we grew up in, all of us grew up in. You have to understand, his mom raised me, basically. He lives in that house that we grew up in because obviously my nana and my papa have passed, and I live in his condo. So, but I pay rent. Another thing, the end of 2021, that's when I decided that I'm going to move to San Diego because after I tried to unalive myself, I wanted to be with family. I didn't want to be alone. I asked if I could move in to the condo because he always offered. And so I moved to San Diego, March 2022. I have to go back. 2021, after I was going through like all my mental health shit, blah, blah, blah. And this was when I lived on my own in the duplex in 2021. My little brother who lived with me had DM'd me on Instagram and was like, hey, I'm in LA. I live with my mom. I was just going through so much shit. I knew that I couldn't deal with that right then. And so I think I messaged him back and I was like, oh, super cool. But like, that was it because I wasn't in the mental space to honestly deal with that at that time. So 2022, but I still kept tabs. I still checked his Instagram. I still kept tabs on him. So then when I moved to San Diego, 2022, I saw, and I've never talked about this. I've talked about my little brother coming to live with me, but I never talked about why. 2022, that other Instagram was deactivated that he messaged me from. And I somehow like would check his mom's. Like, I don't know how I found it. I found her vagine. Her vagine was literally on Instagram, a picture of her vagine straight up on Instagram. I go psycho, not psycho, but I go like, what the fuck? What the fuck? So I went on a wild goose hunt. I called them my adoptive grandparents. They've told me horrible things. Literally, we disconnected, and for good reason. The despicable things that they told me. 2022, I see her kuka, his mom's kuka, because we have same dad, different moms. My dad was never in his life growing up. I see her kuka on Instagram, and at that point I'm like, this is enough. Like, I need to find my brother. What the fuck is going on? I divulge into like all her other shit. She's a prostitute. She's not even an escort because she's doing more than just going to escort these people. Once I saw her kuka on Instagram, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what else? Like, if that's on Instagram, what the fuck else? There's other shit, you know what I mean? So then I went on a wild goose hunt, trying to like literally get in contact with him. And then on my stepmom's Instagram, I found my dad, who I hadn't talked to in 10 years because he also said horrible things to me. Literally everybody in my life who was supposed to take care of me like fucking is toxic as fuck. And that's why I am so tough. Like, I fucking had the shit that I've had to deal with in my life. Nobody should ever have to endure. And the way that I endure it, like, I don't I don't have time to sit there and fucking cry. Even the times that I'm going through right now, like I don't fucking have time to sit here and like wallow and like be depressed. Like also, what the fuck is that going to solve? Anyways, I reached out to my dad. I found my dad because they were following each other on Instagram. I DM'd my dad. I was like, hey, do you have my brother's number? And he was like, oh, I thought you wanted to talk to me. And I was like, no, straight up, like I just need my brother's phone number. He was like, here it is. That obviously that second I text him and I was like, hey, I'm in San Diego if you ever want to come visit me, because I wasn't working at the time. So after I tried to unalive myself and after I moved to San Diego, I took some time off just to figure it out. I thought the cost of living here in San Diego was going to be significantly cheaper. It wasn't. Mind you, I'm still paying rent. Even though this is my uncle's condo, I paid rent. I took some time off work. I was just living off my savings, but I had no idea I was going to get my brother because I had no idea the situation was going to go down. But in that moment, I knew, and somehow I always knew that when my brother turned 16, I knew he was always going to come live with me. I just always had a feeling. And even my ex, dad was like, you knew, you always said at 16 he was going to come live with you. And literally that's what happened, except he was younger than 16. I text my brother and he's like, hey, can I come in a couple days or something? And then so I drove up to where he was and I got him. And then he was telling me everything that was going on. Yes, his mom was prostituting. They were not in a good situation. They were living in hotels in like the car sometimes. He had a dog. She had a little dog. It was just not a good situation. And nobody else was fucking doing anything. So of course, like always, I step in and I'm not complaining. I mean, look, it is what it is. But then, so mind you, he's staying with me. He brings a suitcase. And it just kept like, can I stay another week? Can I stay a couple days? Can I blah, blah, blah? And then he's telling me obviously everything that's going on. He failed his freshman year completely, almost everything. He wasn't going to school. She never made him go to school. I think he missed more school days than he actually went. So I asked him, I said, do you want to live with me? I said, you can go to school here. He said, yeah. And he was so scared to ask his mom, but obviously that worked out because he was living with me. That was 2022. I moved to San Diego. You have to understand, less than a year ago, I tried to unalive myself. I moved to a new city. I wasn't working, living off my savings. So when he came to live with me, it was so fucking difficult. Like imagine, like I said before, I'm not a gentle parent. Like he had to follow the rules. He wasn't allowed to ditch, but he was like, and you have to understand, I'm a parent to a teenage boy. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. Like I'm doing the best I can financially. It's fucking hard. Like everything was so difficult. And that's why my ex also, even though we weren't together, he would come once a month just to help me just do things, even just like walk Gigi or, hang things or like even take my brother to the gym with him or to the market just to like give me a break. Since I wasn't working, then my brother was here and I was like, fuck, I need to work. So then I started working at a real estate office. I was somebody's assistant and then my brother got jumped. I've mentioned that before. So once my brother got jumped, the office here, it was a Compass office, it got jumped after school. And that was as a parent. And you have to understand, like I treated myself as a parent. That was the scariest thing ever. Imagine your child calling you, and he's not my child, but like I don't know another way to describe it, even though I'm not his mom and I was his guardian. It was so scary because I felt so helpless. There was nothing I could do. And I was 45 minutes to an hour away because it was the heat of traffic. School gets out 3:40. I'm far away. And I had to call another parent. There was another parent and I asked him, I was like, hey, crying. And I was like, hey, my brother got jumped. Can you like go pick him up and take him to my house? That happened. And then at that moment I was doing real estate. And you have to understand, when you do real estate, like you're an entrepreneur, like you're working 24/7. And the person who I was working for, like not only was I in the office, but like I was doing their TC work, like their paperwork. So I was having to work after hours too, like even when I was in the office. And it was just too much. I couldn't do it. I had to focus on my brother. And that's another thing. Like not only did I sacrifice and give up everything for my ex, but once again, I did it for my brother too. I had to get back into the legal field because I needed PTO, I needed sick time, I needed structured income. Like I needed to be able to take sick days literally because he was not an easy fucking kid. And I had to go to school sometimes, and I had to, like, literally, I had to catch him up, like, and I caught him up for school, and I caught him up, like, pretty proud of that. Then I stopped doing real estate, and then I took time off, to focus on him. And then I was like, fuck, I need to start working again. So then I got back into the legal field. So this is the end of 2022. And I had a Rolex. I literally sold my Rolex so my brother could have Christmas because I wasn't working. And sacrifices at the wazoo. Now we're in 2023. 2023 January, that's when I started at this new law firm. I was having a difficult time financially. I went through all my savings. I had to take my 401k out, like we can make it. But that's something I was willing to do for my brother because once again, nobody else was doing shit. And his grandparents, like, we're just not the same parenting. And to be completely honest, he was living with them. And then they let him leave to go live with his mom. Why the fuck would you do that? That's also another thing that, like, I didn't agree with too. And she was like, well, what was I supposed to do? I don't know, not fucking let him go. You knew. And that's the thing. My stepmom is also a recovering drug addict and alcoholic. And then she started doing this. The girl has like master's degrees too. It's like, I would kill to have her degrees. Imagine like going from a lifestyle to where he was in private school his whole entire life up until he went to go live with his mom freshman year of high school. Then you get to do whatever the fuck you want. He told me, he was like, I would be gone for the weekends, like from Friday, and she wouldn't, and for the whole weekend, and she wouldn't even ask me where I was. And like, imagine hearing that. Like, what the fuck? And I grew up not in a great environment, and I never wanted my brother to live like that. But I understood because he wanted to be with his mom, but whatever. It is what it is. So 2023, I started at the legal firm. Then it was just like really hard. And then so I'm going to skip to December. My brother, I caught him up with school. It was fucking difficult. I made him do jujitsu after he got jumped because I'm like, okay, well, you obviously don't know how to fight. That was 2023, January. I started working at the law firm, la, la, la. And this is where it gets tricky with my ex because this is where like cognitive dissonance like kind of like comes in. My ex was here for a jiu-jitsu tournament in December, and I know the date specifically because I have a photographic memory. December 16th, 2023. His brother came to stay with us too. So it was my ex and his little brother, and him and his little brother like went downtown, or like I don't know where the fuck they went, but they went out and then they came back home. So he came back and was intimate with me. Obviously, we have a history. I'm going to catch feelings again. And that's what happened. I did. And this, in true narcissistic fashion, he was fucking with me, playing with me, hurt my feelings, like was leading me on completely. 2024, after all that happened, like him and I stopped talking. Like he was just like really fucking with me. And I just like, I couldn't do it. He also like just would say some like really outlandish things. Like, whatever, doesn't matter. Then we stopped talking. He would like come in and out of my life, whatever. And 2024, my brother left. That was another situation. It got to the point where like we weren't even talking. He wanted to just be roommates, and I was like, okay, you want to be roommates? Like pay your phone bill. So on a school night, I don't know if I talked about this. Maybe if it's redundant, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna do spark notes. This is how it all happened, and this is how he left. I literally couldn't mentally do it anymore. Also, I found a lump in my breast. I did that by myself. My brother said he would go with me to my appointment, but forgot, and I just went by myself. And then I told my adoptive grandma, and she was like, if I were you, I would be scared too. Thanks for your support. And then I told my ex, didn't even ask me about the appointment, didn't even ask how it went. I was like, oh, hey, just FYI, had my appointment. So yeah, just life. I've just been raw dogging the fuck out of it by myself, which is fine. I don't have another choice. It's not fine, but I literally don't have another choice. 2024, this is how my brother left. He went downtown. It was like literally 10 o'clock at night on a school night. We would go probably a week without even seeing each other or talking to each other. He was working at Walmart. He got fired. Didn't even tell me he got fired. I guess he got fired 2 weeks before he ran away. So, and how did that happen? I'm going to tell you. So he was downtown. He would ride the bus and the trolley. because here in San Diego, if you're a high school student, you get like a Metro pass. I don't know what it's called, but it's a Metro pass or whatever, MTS pass for free. The high school students do. So that's what he had. It was a school night and I was checking his location. Like my heart would be racing. Also, I've told this kid so many fucking times. I've had so many different discussions with him and talks. He didn't fucking care. He had no respect for me. He didn't fucking like, that's why I needed my ex's help but like my ex didn't do shit either. He was about to turn 18 that year. And once a kid turns 18, I can't make him just go to school. This kid was already fucking ditching school. And I found out later he was drinking and smoking at the house. So anyways, so it was a school night. He was out, didn't get home until like 10:30. Mind you, his dog, I took in his dog too because he had this dog since he was like 6 years old, 7 years old. And my brother is 17 at the time. Like I said, he was about to turn 18 in a couple months. So his dog was here. I had to fucking walk his dog. He would literally not fucking walk his dog for like literally 14 hours. It was just so fucked up. And then mind you, I already have 3 animals. I have 2 dogs and we got a cat when he moved in. My brother didn't get home until like 10 o'clock at night. And when he came home, he like walked his dog after he was home for like 30 minutes. And I remember everything. My heart is racing. I don't know what the fuck to do. But like going down to talk to him, I needed a minute. I needed to figure out what the fuck to do if I was going to do anything. I didn't even sleep that night. So mind you, he came home at like 10 o'clock and it's a school night. So he has school the next morning. So at like 5:30 in the morning, I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. He's not just going to do whatever the fuck he wants. Like there needs to be repercussions. This is crazy. So I go down in his room. It's 5:45 in the morning, and all the kids like have those LED lights on, and he's like slouched in his bed, but he's on his phone. He looks horrible. I'm one person. Like I can't like, and all the sacrifices I made, and like the one thing I did tell him, one time I was like, "You're ruining my life," but like I'm not your parent, and like I'm sorry, but I don't regret saying that. Like all the sacrifices that I made, and you can't fucking just go to school. Just fucking go to school every single day. Like, just do that. You can't even fucking do that. Like, I'm your sister. I'm not your mom. I didn't decide to have a kid. I didn't not want to take care of you. Like, I'm doing what I think any decent human would do is like try and help the situation. And I really genuinely tried my best. And he saw that. He saw the sacrifices I made. He knew everything that I was doing. And I didn't ask a lot. Like, I just told him, like, if you're not going to get a job, like play a sport. I made him do jujitsu. He like wasn't even trying in that. I made a lot of sacrifices, genuinely. I left fucking real estate. That wasn't an easy decision. And it is what it is. Circle back. So I go down there. It's 5:30, 5:45 in the morning. I said, give me your phone. Because he's on his phone. I said, give me your phone. I said, I'm calling your mom. And she during this whole time she came to see him once, not even for his birthday. She came for like Christmas Eve one time. Like, I'm not even going to get into that, but she's a piece of work. She picked up and she left to Spain. She moved to Spain during this whole thing. Oh, and also my brother, prior to this, planned to like move back with her. And she knew because he told me, he was like, oh, I'm going to move back with my mom. The fuck? What? And I had to like leave the house and I called her and I was like, you guys schemed behind my back. I was like, and she was like, well, I wasn't serious, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why would you tell him that? Why would you lead him on like that? And then they did it again this whole time, which is why he was been acting up because she said, you can come live with me. I'm going to come back from Spain, which that's another, I'm not even going to get into that because it doesn't matter. So sorry, I'm just like talking so fast, but like, honestly, I don't fucking want to talk about this. And I'm trying to get you guys caught up because how I got here. 2024, it's 5:30. I told my brother, give me your phone. I'm calling your mom. And he's like, well, can I call her? And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, can I talk to her? And I'm like, oh, because I told him, I said, because I kept threatening, like I said, I'm going to take you to the Navy recruiter. I'm going to take you to a recruiter. And so I took it, that's how it all started. So I went downstairs and I said, I'm taking you to the Navy recruiter. I said, you're going to school. And I said, I'm picking you up early. And I said, I'm taking you to the Navy recruiter. And he starts crying like crocodile tears. Like, it's not even like, and then he was like, can I talk to my mom? I said, I'm going to talk to your mom. I said, you can talk to her after. And then so he opened up his phone because I said, open up your phone because it was locked, said, I'm calling your mom. And then so I went upstairs to my room and I closed the door and I called his mom. I was on the phone, told her everything that happened. I said, I'm taking him to a Navy recruiter. She was like, okay, whatever. And that's when she tells me, she was like, well, I'm moving back to Spain. He's going to come live with me. So then, mind you, if he thinks he's going back to his mom, of course he's going to act out with me. He doesn't give a fuck. What does he have to listen to me for? He's going back to his mom. And then so then I like that really grinds my gears. After I get off the phone with her, I go back downstairs to his room. He's gone. His backpack gone. Everything is, mind you, I have his phone. His backpack is gone. His lights are still on. His dog, I don't even think he walked his dog. But yeah, he's gone. I'm freaking out. I don't know where he is. It's 8:30 and on my phone, the school calls me. It says Otay Ranch. And I just knew it was my brother. And he's at least he's at school. And he's like, can I call my mom? Can I talk to my mom? And I said, yeah, if you come home. I said, I'm taking you to the Navy recruiter. And I said, and then you can talk to your mom. I said, I already talked to her. So he never comes home. He's gone for literally like maybe 4 to 5 days. But then I'm still like stalking his social media. He's with some, I don't even know who these people are, but he's tagged in like things on Instagram. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. So then his mom, mind you, is in Spain at the time. So we're emailing back and forth. I don't even have her phone number because she changed it or I don't know what happened. But she's emailing me. She's like, I talked to blah, blah, blah. And he said he's gonna, I convinced him to come back to live with you. And I said, no, no, no. I said, he's no longer allowed to live here. You have to understand, like, it was really fucking with me and I had to choose myself. Like I couldn't, I literally did everything that I could do. There's literally nothing I can do. I was making all the sacrifices that I could financially, mentally, emotionally. I had no help. My ex and I weren't even talking at the time. His grandparents stopped talking to me because they didn't agree with what I was doing. I stand by what I did. I had to do that. So then he calls me on a Monday, like late at night. He was like, can I go get my things on XYZ day? And I was like, yeah, I'll put them outside. And mind you, I still have his dog at this time. So I'm taking care of like all this shit. He didn't even, left his dog, didn't even give a fuck. Whatever. My brother comes to pick up his things on a Saturday morning. I leave everything outside in a box. Obviously, I'm checking his things. Whoever he comes, the kid is fine. He's talking to his mom. So that is 2024. So 2024, my brother leaves and I have to, I'm back to square one of figuring it out. 2025, this is when cognitive dissonance like kind of comes into play because in April of 2025, obviously that's when I filed my taxes. My brother said he never even lived here. And when my brother lived here, I was a head of household because I was his guardian, but I wasn't his parent. So I got less taxes taken out of my paycheck. But since he did his taxes before me and said he never even lived here, I owed taxes, which that is how cognitive dissonance like came into play. And mind you, like my uncle is not nice. He has said really fucked up things to me. Even just recently, he's said some really fucked up things. But it doesn't matter. It's just once again, you have to understand, like I moved to San Diego to be close to my one family member. And I even told him, I said, his sister, my aunt, who's on a conservatorship by the state, like want to take care of her. I want to be able to financially take care of her one day. I want her to live with me. Do you think I want to do that? I mean, nobody else is doing it. Where's her sister? My mom. Where he's not taking care of her to let your family, a family member to just like literally sit there and be by themselves and be mush. And she lights up every single time I go see her because I treat her like a human being. That's fucked up. That's so fucked up. It is what it is. Yeah. So I owe money on my taxes. I had to get an extension. Then when cognitive dissonance, I didn't know what to do. You have to understand I have no family. So I reached out to my ex's parents. I literally didn't know what else to do. I had nobody. I asked my uncle and he literally started screaming at me on the phone, saying other horrible things. Then I had to circle back and go to square one. I'm like, okay, well now what do I do? I financially like took all these hits and even my mom, she was like, well, everybody makes mistakes. You shouldn't have taken them in. What was I supposed to do? That's why I say in cognitive dissonance, or I don't know which episode I said, but everybody tells you what you should do, but nobody else wants to do it. Nobody wants to help, but they want to tell you what to do. So that's when my ex's family was like, you can move in with us, take all whatever. So cognitive dissonance, if you don't know what happened, go listen to that. But then that redacted because they talked to my ex and he was like, yeah, you can't come live with them. No, I'd rather do this. And he said he'd help me. That never happened. So then I had to once again figure it out, which like I'm not complaining about figuring it out. I don't have another fucking choice. Then I was gonna find a roommate and I mean, I had somebody in mind. And then I just realized I was like, you treat me like shit, like actual fucking shit. So then, yeah, that didn't work out. We're still in 2025. So this was last year. That's when I really started taking the podcast seriously because, like, this is what I want to do. In the end of October, the law firm job, and every single law firm job I've had here, I have never been so bullied at each job. Like, I've never been bullied at a job than like here in San Diego. And so I was working at my third law firm here because the first one I worked at, they closed the San Diego office because both attorneys left after 20 years or something. So my job wasn't needed. And then I worked at another one, but then I thought I was moving back to LA. So whatever. I left that job and then I had to find a new one. So I worked at my third law firm and it was an hour and a half away. And it was just like such a toxic work environment. The attorney who I worked for, like, pulled me into her office, closed the door, like berated me. It was so fucking toxic. Well, then I had this other friend, which it is what it is. She owns a house and then they have a trailer on their property, and she'd mentioned a couple times that like I could live in it. She wouldn't charge me as much rent as I'm paying here because you have to understand I'm a single girl and I couldn't save up money and pay my finances, everything on my own because I wasn't doing real estate. I took a hit doing that. So I was in the legal field. And what's crazy is here, it's like the job market here does not pay really anything. I couldn't do both because I need to move back to LA. And she told me, she said, you can move into the trailer. And this was November 1st because I write everything down because I don't want to forget. So I asked her November 1st if I could, move into the trailer. And she was like, oh my gosh, she had to talk to her partner. And then she called me back and told me yes on November 1st. I mean, I think I asked prior to that, but she told me on November 1st, like, yes, you can. She was like, and then she told me how much she was going to charge me. And then she was like, what are you going to do? Because we're not going to charge you that much rent. Then you can like, get like another job. Because at this point, I would say after cognitive dissonance, I started to take like the podcast like really seriously. Mind you, I just started doing video the end of October. So I started YouTube November 3rd of 2025. I genuinely like I started posting on TikTok more. That was November 1st. She said I could move into the trailer and I needed documents signed because she's a notary. So I needed documents signed to send them somewhere. So whatever. So I go to her house in December. Mind you, she told me in November, she was like, let me just like hook up the trailer, make sure everything works. And then she's like, but like there's like it's in the dirt and I need to like figure something out. We're gonna do it in a couple weeks, like in a week and a half. She's like, I'll let you know once we get everything up and running. Okay, cool. And I don't want to push her prod. So I kind of just like let her reach out to me. But then when I went to her house in December, because she was a notary to sign documents for me, nothing was done. She was working on another part of her house, which like I get it. Okay, do you? But why would you? That's why I said in my villain era, I'm so fucking naive. I just am so trusting. I literally trust everybody. Like whatever I say, I'm gonna do it. Like I don't bullshit. I don't just say things just to say things. That's why if I don't say anything, like, no, I'm not going to do that. But if I do say I'm going to do something, I think that's why a lot of people sometimes can say I'm intimidating and like come off as intimidating because like I say what I mean and I mean what I say. I don't bullshit. Not everybody's like that is what I'm finding out. Not a lot of people. I would say maybe 2%. So you have to understand like my ex's family said I could live with them. That never happened. They never even called to tell me that, like, hey, you couldn't, because they talked to my ex and my ex shut that down. He was like, no, absolutely not. So then that happened. And then the other person I was going to live with, they literally, I realized they were fucking treating me like shit too. That person made me fucking cry in a restaurant, didn't even apologize, didn't even say shit. And when I had my brother, they were like not a good friend. You have to understand, like, the wheels are fucking turning after all these shitty things happened to me. Because, like I said in my first, like, in the January episode, like, what is the common denominator here? Me. I'm the fucking idiot here. I'm too trusting, I'm too naive, and it's just bullshit. So that's why I'm just like so ruthless with my cutoff, like my discernment, like now is like so fucking strong. That's why I stay in the house, and I'd rather be bored in the house and stay with my animals than be fucked over by almost every single fucking person. So I'm fucking done. Then Once I went to her house in December and saw that like the trailer was still in the same spot, nothing was set up, and then they were working on another section of the house so they could rent that out. So, and I didn't say anything because like I'm what am I supposed to say to that? Like what am I supposed to say? I don't know what to say. Like I feel once again like I've been fucked over because at that time I was gonna like get a part-time job. Once again, I started taking the podcast more seriously. I started posting on YouTube, so I'm applying to jobs in LA. And yesterday I got an email back, 3 fucking paragraphs at like 6 p.m. at night. Why? And she was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. They went with somebody else, like, because they asked HR. And like, my name is Darien. I'm sure these people Google, it is what it is. I talk about like OnlyFans, even though I wasn't posting on OnlyFans, everything that I was posting on OnlyFans could genuinely go on Instagram, like literally. And the max amount of followers I had at one time was five followers. And I deactivated it probably a week ago because I'm just like, I'm not even posting. The last time I had posted was like 3 weeks ago because I get those emails. It's like, oh, you haven't posted in X amount of days. And I'm just like, it's a lot of work also. Like, I just don't, that's not what I was doing. I made max probably $25 off of it. I deleted the whole account. And when I took a screenshot of everything because I wanted to document, what happened. So when I deleted and deactivated my account, I didn't even deactivate it. I deleted. So when I deleted the account, I screenshotted everything on my phone. I had one follower, one. So it's not even like I was doing OnlyFans and like making money off of it. It was just honestly for shits and giggles. But those videos were on YouTube of because I did talk about it on the pod, like me starting OnlyFans. But I mean, unless you follow me, you don't know what the fuck I'm posting. So 2026, here we are. That took almost an hour to explain. I deleted my OnlyFans and I'm having to figure it out because I've applied to so many jobs here in San Diego. I can't find one. I've reached out every avenue. And I just like, I can't sit here and cry because I genuinely think that maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. Even though I've taken the podcast more seriously, it hasn't been very structured. I just read a book because it got to the point where I think one day I let myself like cry and not woe is me, but just like I needed to get it out of my body. And I pray every single day. Like I pray before I go to bed, like right when I wake up, I journal every single day, almost every single day, because I don't have anybody to talk to. So like I literally will write letters to myself. I write letters to God. I write letters to, the universe, to my nana, my papa that same day. Cause I was like, I need to pray, but like I'm such a quantum physics girl, like a science girl, that I didn't know how to pray. To be completely honest, I'm not like a Christian girl. I don't, not that I don't believe in Jesus, but like I don't think, like Christianity is not my religion. I tried it and it's just not for me. The day that I like let it out, I wanted to start praying properly. And I was like, you know what? I want to read the Bible. But the Bible, it doesn't resonate with me. I was on Spotify and I'm like, let me listen to the Torah. So I started listening to the Torah and like reading along with it. So I would listen to the Torah on Spotify and then I would read it. So when I was doing that on Spotify, it's so the universe and like God, how it works. Then it like was this like introduction to Stoicism. And then so I listened to that. And I also have this like 365 days of Stoicism. Stoicism has always resonated with me, but it was just so odd how like I found it just coincidentally, because there's no such thing as coincidences. And that really resonated with me. And so that has been my way of life for the past week, because once all this happened with Gigi and I can't find a job, I'm literally not working. It's just been really difficult. And to be completely honest, I mean, there's only one person who like knows like literally everything, and that's Andrew. I wouldn't have anybody to talk to if it wasn't for him and like him checking on me and like, hey, like, how are you? Thank God for him. And I told him, I was like, just appreciate the family you have. So you're caught up. So I'm moving back to LA in March. I just have to figure it out. I don't have another choice. I need to figure it out because, and I think maybe this is God's way and the universe's way of making me, I have to find the silver lining. One of the ways of thinking in Stoicism is you don't look at the glass half full or half empty. You're just very grateful that you have water. So you have that mindset. And so I am just grateful and to find the silver lining. And maybe this is the universe's and God's way to take this more seriously. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm taking this more seriously. I'm taking, content creating more seriously. Like, I want to have a big impact, not even a big impact, but I do want to help people. I've mentioned that so many times on the podcast, like all the shit that I've gone through in life. Like, I want to help humanity. I think we lost that in society. I genuinely think we have. I think, people don't have morals anymore or discernment, and everybody's just kind of like lawing around the world. I think it's time for me to stop. It's been an hour, so Gigi's going crazy, but you're all caught up. If you take away anything from this episode, it's appreciate your loved ones around you, because what you have, I guarantee you somebody is praying for. And that's something that I have to remind myself is like, even when I'm having like a shitty time, I remind myself, do you know how lucky I am to be in this position? Do you know how lucky I am to be here? Do you know how lucky I am to have, dogs, or have like a roof over my head, and have a working vehicle, and to have power, lights, and to have Wi-Fi, and to have, be able to speak my mind and be in America? That's such a blessing. You're all caught up in my life. Is this embarrassing to say? Yeah, it is, but this is the truth. And be grateful for everything you have. And on that note, cheerio.